ready to dig into some fascinating insights on plants.
And how to talk about them like a pro.
That's right. You guys provided us with this podcast episode all about acing the IELTS speaking exam.
Specifically focusing on plants, right?
Exactly.
It's full of practical tips and examples.
Which we're going to unpack today.
Whether you're an IELTS hopeful
Or just plant curious.
we think you'll find something intriguing in this deep dive.
Now you might be thinking, the IELTS, what's that?
It's the International English Language Testing System.
Commonly required for university admission or immigration.
But here's the thing.
Even if you're not planning on taking the exam,
The insights we'll uncover today go way beyond test prep.
we're talking about communication skills
Cultural awareness, Sewell.
and a deeper appreciation for the leafy wonders all around us.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
How much we can communicate.
Just by talking about something as simple as plants.
And the IELTS exam really taps into that.
It's not just about, knowing the right words.
Right.
It's about demonstrating your ability to think critically
Yeah.
and express yourself effectively.
Exactly. And that applies to any topic, not just plants.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into an example from this IELTS podcast, shall we?
Sure.
One of the questions they use is, do you like plants?
Seems pretty basic, right?
You might think, just a simple yes or no.
But they encourage you to go much deeper.
Turning even a simple question like that.
Into a chance to showcase your language skills.
And your personality.
Right.
One of the example responses they give is, well, yes, I do. Plants have this amazing ability to bring a sense of peace and calm to my environment, especially indoor plants. I'm a big fan of peace lilies and pawpaws. They're low maintenance and really brighten up my living space.
That's a great example.
They really emphasize moving beyond the one-word answer, right?
Absolutely. What's effective about that response is the way it's structured.
Oh.
You start by stating your opinion.
You like plants.
Right. Then you give a reason why.
That sense of peace and calm.
Exactly. And then back it up with a personal example.
Like those peace lilies and pothos.
Precisely. And this structure, it can be used for any question.
Not just about plants.
Which is a key takeaway here.
It helps make your communication, no matter what you're talking about,
Clearer.
and more persuasive.
Yes.
They even give another response for someone who's maybe not such a plant enthusiast.
Oh, interesting. What's that?
Something like, I wouldn't call myself a plant fanatic, but I definitely appreciate how they can transform a space. Recently, I added a few succulents to my desk. They added a nice touch of greenery without requiring a lot of care.
Both responses, they show that you can answer honestly.
Even if you're not, head over heels for plants.
Right. And still create a detailed and engaging response.
It's about showcasing your ability to express yourself thoughtfully.
And connect with the question on a personal level.
Okay, so we've seen how to rock a simple, do you like plants question.
What's next?
Let's move on to something a bit meatier.
Yes, I'm ready.
The IELTS podcast also tackles this question. Do you think plants are important in our lives?
Now, most people, they might jump to the obvious answers like oxygen.
Or food, right?
But the source material, it really encourages you to think outside the planter box.
I love that. Think outside the planter box.
They want you to consider the less obvious uses like medicine.
Building materials.
And the role plants play in keeping our whole ecosystem balanced.
They even give you a sample answer that covers all those points.
Okay, hit me with it.
Plants are absolutely essential for life as we know it. Not only do they produce oxygen through photosynthesis, but they also provide us with food, medicine, and raw materials for construction and even clothing. Plus, they play a vital role in maintaining ecological balance by reducing pollution and improving air quality.
Wow.
That's a pretty impressive answer.
It is.
Did you notice how they snuck in some high-level vocab there?
Like what?
Photosynthesis, ecological balance.
All that good stuff.
In the context of the IELTS exam,
This demonstrates a broad range of vocabulary.
which can help boost your score.
But even beyond exams, using more sophisticated vocabulary, it can make you sound more knowledgeable
And confident.
in any conversation
It's like choosing a beautifully crafted wooden chair.
instead of a flimsy plastic one.
It just elevates the whole
I
experience.
love that analogy. And speaking of elevating the experience...
One of my favorite examples from this IELTS material
Okay, what is it?
is where they talk about growing beans as a kid.
Ah, yes. The bean story.
It's a great example of how personal anecdotes can make your answers
And communication in general.
much more engaging.
Right.
It's not just about rattling off facts.
No.
This example shows how you can weave in a personal story,
Okay.
making the answer more relatable.
And memorable.
It's like you're inviting the listener to share in your experience.
creating a much deeper connection.
What's fascinating is that storytelling
It's such a powerful tool,
in communication
whether you're in an exam.
or just chatting with friends
It taps into our natural human desire to connect.
through shared experiences and emotions.
It's like that feeling you get when you're listening to someone tell a captivating story
And you completely lose track of time.
because you're so drawn in.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of impact you want to have.
With your communication.
So far, we've really seen how this IELTS material,
Goes beyond just exam tips.
it highlights valuable communication skills
That can benefit anyone.
in any situation.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive.
Where we're exploring how the IELTS speaking exam,
Can actually teach us all a thing or two about communicating effectively.
especially when it comes to plans.
It's amazing how much we can unpack from this seemingly simple topic.
Right. The IELTS material we're looking at goes beyond just basic vocabulary.
It throws some really interesting questions your way.
Questions that can really spark some insightful conversations.
Absolutely. And these questions, they aren't just for exam practice.
They can actually get us thinking about plants in new ways.
For example, one of the questions they ask is, what kinds of plants are popular in your country?
That's a great one because it goes beyond just, naming a few plants.
It's a chance to talk about your culture
Your personal experiences.
and maybe even some unique uses for plants that someone from another part of the world might not know about.
Precisely. Imagine someone talking about how bamboo is not just a plant in their country.
But it's used in construction,
Furniture.
food.
Even traditional musical instruments.
It suddenly becomes more than just a plant, you know?
It's a symbol of their cultural heritage.
Exactly.
It's like opening a window into a whole different world.
All through a simple conversation about plants.
And that's what effective communication is all about.
Creating those connections.
Sharing those insights.
Another question they ask is, do you prefer indoor plants or outdoor plants?
Why?
Again, seems simple.
But it's a chance to go deeper.
You could talk about the challenges of keeping plants alive in a certain climate,
The psychological benefits of having greenery indoors.
or maybe even how caring for plants has taught you patience.
And resilience.
That's so true.
I once tried to grow an avocado tree from a pit.
Oh, really?
And let's just say I learned a lot about the delicate balance of water
Sunlight.
and hope.
It definitely wasn't as easy as those Instagram plant influencers make it seem.
That's a perfect example of how personal anecdotes can add humor
And depth.
to a conversation. Even a story about a failed gardening attempt can turn into a relatable.
And engaging anecdote.
The IELTS material also includes this question.
Have you ever given a plant as a gift to someone?
Now this one really gets into the social and emotional significance of plants.
It's a chance to talk about traditions,
The symbolism.
the personal meaning behind gifting a plant.
You could talk about how in some cultures certain plants are given as housewarming gifts to symbolize growth and prosperity,
Or how a bouquet of flowers can convey a heartfelt apology.
or a message of love and support.
It's fascinating how plants can be woven into the fabric of human relationships.
It reminds me of how people in some cultures exchange specific plants during holidays or special ceremonies.
It's like they're not just exchanging objects.
They're sharing a piece of their history and traditions.
And that brings us to another intriguing question from the IELTS podcast.
Why do you think some people enjoy gardening?
This one really invites you to explore the motivations
And benefits.
of interacting with plants, going beyond just the practical aspect.
It's a chance to delve into the psychology of gardening, right?
Yeah, you could talk about how it can be a form of stress relief,
A creative outlet
a way to connect with nature.
and feel a sense of accomplishment,
Some people find it meditative
while others enjoy the challenge.
and problem-solving aspects.
It's interesting how gardening can appeal to such a diverse range of personalities.
You could even connect it to the growing awareness of sustainability.
And the satisfaction of growing your own food.
It taps into a desire for self-sufficiency and environmental responsibility.
And for some, it might simply be the joy of nurturing something.
And watching it grow.
There's something almost magical about witnessing the life cycle of a plant.
From a tiny seed to a flourishing blossom.
Exactly.
And that sense of wonder, it's something that transcends cultures and languages.
It's a universal human experience.
That we can all connect with.
And that's what makes these IELTS questions so valuable.
Even for those who aren't taking the exam.
They encourage us to think critically
Express ourselves thoughtfully.
and appreciate the multifaceted world of plants in a whole new light.
Absolutely. They demonstrate how effective communication is about more than just using the right words.
It's about engaging with the topic, sharing your perspective.
And creating a meaningful connection with your audience.
It's amazing how this deep dive into IELTS questions about plants, they open up so much more.
It seemed like such a straightforward topic at first.
I know, right? We've gone from exam tips to cultural insights,
Personal anecdotes.
even like the psychology of why people love gardening.
What's really striking is how much the IELTS material emphasizes going beyond those surface level answers.
Yeah.
It really pushes you to think critically, draw connections.
And present your ideas in a way that's engaging and insightful.
Exactly.
It's not just about knowing fancy words. It's about understanding the why behind the words.
And using them to create a meaningful conversation.
One example that really stuck with me was their answer to, why do you think some people enjoy gardening?
Oh, yeah, that one was great.
They talked about how gardening can be both relaxing and rewarding,
Allows people to connect with nature, great
something
goods their own hands.
It's-
And they didn't stop there.
They brought in the sustainable aspect of gardening, too.
Talking about the satisfaction of growing your own food and contributing to a greener environment.
That's a great example of how to elevate your response, by connecting it to broader themes. It's like they took a simple question about gardening and turned it into this reflection on our relationship with nature.
And our responsibility to the planet.
That's a powerful stuff.
It really highlights how effective communication is about more than just conveying information.
It's about sparking curiosity,
Challenging assumptions.
inspiring new ways of thinking.
Exactly.
This whole deep dive has been a great reminder that those skills are valuable.
Whether we're prepping for an exam, giving a presentation, or just having a conversation with friends,
Absolutely.
by thinking about how we talk about plants, or really any topic,
We can enhance our communication skills
deepen our understanding of the world.
and even become more persuasive and engaging communicators.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on plants and the IELTS,
We encourage you to think about what resonated with you.
has this changed how you think about plants or the importance of clear communication?
What insights will you take with you from this exploration? We'd love to hear your thoughts.